is enough said.
What's up, Heat Nation? Your boy Ernest here. I am back with another Miami Heat Talk video. This time, I'm not alone. I got my boy back, Anthony DiNardo. What's up, my dude? Anthony, how you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great, but I'm gonna bring a little bit of negativity to this channel because I know how you like to do, and there's a lot we got to talk about.
Oh, we doing it different on this one, as you guys know. But if you don't, we did part one of Jimmy Butler's contract extension. We're giving reasons on why it's a good idea to give Jimmy Butler a contract extension, but this video is a little bit different. It's reasons why we should not give Jimmy Butler a contract extension. Now, if you've not seen part one, I don't know what you're doing. Stop the video. Press the X button. Stop.
No. Don't mess up my boy's retention time. You can watch the rest of this video and then go over to my channel. I'm not gonna do that.
Yes.
Y'all stay and watch the rest of this video.
You gotta see part one. We gave a lot of great reasons on why Jimmy Butler should get the contract extension. It was a lot of fun. Anthony, thank you so much for having me. But this one we doing a little bit different because you know what, Anthony? I'm a little pissed off. I ain't gonna lie. Because people like to think that I'm a positive guy. We promote positivity on the Miami Heat Talk channel, but I'm a realist. I understand that there's certain things that we should not do. I understand that there's mistakes that we have made and mistakes that we should not made. It's like we mentioned on your channel. If you haven't seen it, go check out Anthony's channel, Anthony DiNardo, part one. But what we're talking about is why we should not give Jimmy Butler this contract extension. Now, for those of you that don't know, Anthony, if you don't mind, if you can pull up Jimmy Butler's contract for me so the people at home can see. Look at my guy. He's making it so good for us. Thank you, Anthony. Anyways, as you guys see, Jimmy Butler is on the final year of his contract before his player option. He's making $48 million for the 2024-2025 season. And for 2025-2026, he's on a player option. Now, a lot of people like to think it's a 2-year contract extension. I don't want to add 2 years. That's not happening. A 2-year contract extension is technically adding 1 more year to the contract. So that would mean Jimmy Butler would have 3 more years left. He would not opt out of that player option. You know he would opt in. So, Anthony, tell the people at home, how do you feel about giving Jimmy Butler this contract extension?
So, Jimmy deserves the money. I want him to get paid. That's how I feel. But not this offseason because, quite frankly, I don't think there's a point. If you look at the screen right here, here's how it works. He's already under the books for $48 million this season. And he still has the player option the following season, right? We got him for 2 more years, with the player option. You can wait and see how this season goes and then decide if you want to give him an extension. It would be one thing if Jimmy Butler was coming off another playoff Jimmy performance for X number of years in a row, but it wasn't. He got hurt after a worse regular season than we've seen in past. Not too much worse. We know he coasts, but it seems like every year he plays less and less games, tries less and less in the regular season. But we were okay with that because we got the payout in the postseason. That wasn't the case this year. Maybe it was a fluke, maybe it wasn't. I'm saying let's go through next season. Let's see how it plays out and then give the man his money if he still deserves it like I think he does.
And that's what drives me crazy about today's NBA, Anthony. It's like, you have 2 more years left. Why do we have to give you a contract extension? I love what Pat Riley said in the press conference. He said, we don't have to talk about that now. We have another year. Because they do. Like, fine. We can give you a contract extension to make you happy. But it's just like you mentioned, Anthony. Dude didn't even play in the playoffs. If he had another Cinderella run, we would not be having this conversation. Give the man his money. Because look what Phoenix did for Chris Paul. After the 2021 NBA Finals, they didn't even win, but they paid the man because they were riding that Cinderella run. The only difference why Jimmy Butler, the only reason why we're questioning this is simply because it is this particular year. If this was the same conversation we were having last year, everybody would shut the hell up and say, pay the man. But it's because he got injured and because he didn't play in the playoffs. So I agree with you. Wait it out. Let's see what happens this season. And another thing that does, it puts the power back in Pat Riley. It puts the power back in the Miami Heat. Because now you're not telling Jimmy Butler, okay, we're going to reward you for basic ass play in the regular season. Show me that you deserve this contract extension. You want to go somewhere else? Good. You're 35. Where else can you go? You want to go to Philly? Fine. It's not going to happen with this whole new CBA and stuff like that. It's going to be difficult to make trades. So we can't just send your ass anywhere. It's not the way it was a year or two ago. So it's difficult now to trade players. So the whole thing that's going on, my guy, is yes, we can give Jimmy Butler this contract extension. Yes, it would make him happy. But it's ridiculous for the Miami Heat to actually do it at this point with the performance that he has. So I want to ask you, bro, do you think it's because of his age, or do you think it's because of the way that he's played these last two regular seasons?
Well, I don't. The age and the health is the concerning part, and I wanted to pull this up here. I did kind of find this. I put this together here. This is a list of all the guys in the NBA last season who were 37 or older, right?
Mm-hmm.
You got James, which is how old Jimmy Butler would be by the time he'd be getting paid $58 million in 3 seasons, right? You got James Johnson, who was only just signed in case he needs to beat a player's ass on the Milwaukee Bucks. You got Wesley Matthews, who hasn't been good since he, was in the bubble versus the Heat. You got Garrett Temple, who was on the Heat Summer League like 25 years ago. Al Horford, he was kind of good versus the Heat. I'm not going to lie to you. But obviously, Jeff Green's a shell of himself. Kyle Lowry, we know, is terrible at basketball. Bum. Taj Gibson, who
Unless
the
he
hell
plays
is
the Heat.
still in the league. Chris Paul, PJ Tucker shell themselves. And obviously LeBron, which I look at as the outlier here. So think about it. I know we talked about this in the positives. In today's day and age, modern medicine, guys can play longer than they used to. But I'm showing you the list of guys that are getting paid $37 million. The guys that are 37 years old. Imagine if any one of them was going to be getting paid $58 million. Now, you could say, that's not fair. These are the scrubs, role players of the league. And you could say, hey, look at Steph Curry. Steph Curry is 35 years old?
Yep.
He's playing some of the best ball of his career. Same with Kevin Durant. But those guys both played 74 and 75 games last year, respectively. At 35 years old, they played 70-plus games. Meanwhile, I got Jimmy Butler right here, where he hasn't played over 70 games since 2017.
Insane.
That's why, for me, it is not only the age, it is the health. Because, yes, you could get some of these guys that are older, the stars of the league, that are playing better at a later age than we've ever seen, but they're playing games. You can't reward a guy who's played 60, 64, 57, 52, 58. You can't reward a guy for that. He's not sustainable. Or it's not sustainable for success in this league.
I mean, and that's the main thing. We even said this in part 1, so I don't want to take too much away, but that's exactly what we spoke about. It has really nothing to do with the age. And it has nothing to do with the averages, because if you look at his 5 years in Miami, he's averaging about 20 points a game. He averages about 5 rebounds, about 6 assists. These numbers are fine. It's just the amount of games played. It's getting ridiculous when you're paying a guy $48 million and he only gives you a third of the season. Like Kevin Durant doesn't do that. LeBron James doesn't do that. Steph Curry doesn't do that. The fact that Jimmy Butler does that, it's frustrating. But then you see what he does in the playoffs, and then you're like, are we supposed to be okay with this? Because Curry, Durant, and LeBron all do it in the regular season, and they do it in the playoffs. So I said this in part 1, and I'll say it again in part 2. This part cannot be taken as a negative or a positive. It has to be taken as a fact. If Jimmy Butler is going to get this contract extension, for the love of God, make it incentive based. Like Tyler Hero got paid 4 years, $120 million, but it could be $130 million with incentives. Do something similar with Jimmy Butler. Like, I don't know, bro. I'm not Andy Ellsberg, so I don't know how to work specifics, but it's kind of like what I mentioned in part one. Okay, first off, play a certain amount of games. Secondly, make the all-star team so he can try during the regular season. And finally, all NBA team. You get those three, you get the full max. You get the full max. But if you can't do it, you get like, I don't know, what is it, 65, 70%? Still good. Still good. Dude's making like millions and millions of dollars, but come on. I can't give you $55 million in a season for 55 games. What is that? No.
Yeah. They incentives are very common, in today's NBA. We obviously we talked about this in another video. A lot of times you see that in the NFL, but in the NBA it's becoming a thing. And honestly, I don't see any reason not to have that in Jimmy's contract. I really don't. I mean, I even got some more names here. D Wade's last year here. He was 37, only averaging 15 points per game. We know he was a good player. We know he could have played longer if he wanted to. But imagine if that D Wade was getting paid $58 million. And I know a lot of I want to get into the whole D Wade aspect, right? Because that's kind of a big reason a lot of people think we should pay Dwayne Wade. Obviously, we talked in part one about that too. They said you made a mistake losing Dwayne Wade. They're not going to make the same mistake, right? And while I do believe the front office thinks they made a mistake, because that's why they try to compensate for that by overpaying James Johnson, Dion Waiters, and giving all those guys long-term contracts. They started the Heat family campaign to show, no, look, guys, we do care about our players. That was all to kind of make up for, oh, shit, we weren't supposed to lose Dwayne Wade, right?
Exactly.
But the reason I don't think that was a mistake was, one, because it obviously led to you getting Jimmy Butler. If D Wade doesn't leave, he doesn't recruit Jimmy. But that's really besides the point here. I did not, at the time, I did not want to pay Dwayne Wade. Now, I know I'm in the minority on that. I know almost nobody felt the same way as me. But I looked at how bad the Lakers were after giving Kobe that thank you contract. They sucked. You remember the days of Xavier Henry and whoever else that team had? I did not want to be the Lakers. And I understand giving a guy the money he deserves, but that team was so miserable, and I did not want to see the Miami Heat do it. And I said, you know what makes Pat Riley different? You know what makes him one of the best executives ever? Is he's cutthroat. He doesn't play with his emotions. He does what needs to be done to put out the best team he can every single year. And I believe that he did that, not, like right away by letting Dwayne Wade walk, but over the long term, at the time, I thought it was the right move. Because, yeah, they ended up getting in salary cap hell, but that's only because they overpaid the rest of those bums that we talked about, who finished the season 30-11 and tricked Pat Riley. I think if they didn't do that and they didn't pay Dwayne Wade, you would have had money. You would have had salary cap on the books. And to this day, I still think it was right not overpaying Dwayne Wade, because one way or another, you still would have been, in salary cap prison.
True. And I mean, I know I mentioned in part one that it's good to give Jimmy Butler the contract extension because it shows other players that you take care of your certain people. But I'm going to go ahead and go the opposite way. There's reasons why players will always want to come to Miami. And I could think of three right off the top of my head. Miami, duh. No state income taxes, the weather, it sells itself. You are playing for the best coach in the NBA, Eric Spoelstra, who can propel you and lead you in ways that you've never had before. You don't believe me? James Johnson, Dion Waiters. Mic drop.
Spoelstra will get you paid.
Yup. And players know that. That's the whole reason why Josh Richardson and Thomas Bryant came here for the minimum. They saw what we did when we went to the finals, and they thought, I'm going to get that Bruce Brown money. Because they thought, I'll go to Miami, we'll get to the chip, I'll have that one game and get my $40 million for 2 years. I said that. I saw that as well. Didn't happen. Reason number 3 is the Miami Heat 6-man. And I ain't talking about Tyler Hero. I'm talking about them big booty Latinas down here in South Beach. So as long as we always have those 3 things, we're fine. Like, you can end a marriage with Dwayne Wade and Jimmy Butler, and it may be bad for a year or two, but you can make up for it. And if you don't give Jimmy Butler the contract extension and he requests the trade, or if he walks, then we'll be fine. It won't be the end of the world. We made these two videos, Anthony, to show people two different perspectives. Either you give Jimmy Butler the contract and you satisfy what's been going on the last few years, or you take a stand and you say, bro, I ain't cool with paying you max money for mid performance. You want this max money at 35 years old? Show me that you deserve this max money. I ain't giving you an extension. Get your ass out there and do what they did in 2009, 2010. When it's the last year of your contract, bust ass and show the world who you are, who you are. Show us that you deserve this money instead of us just handing it to you on a platter because of what you did. It's like what Janet Jackson said in their song. What have you done for me lately? Okay, you want to sit down with me and you want to say, well, I deserve this max money because I took you to the 2023 championship. And my response is going to be, well, I paid you max money in 2024 for that. So what the hell?
Yeah. And you brought up, I know a lot of people give pushback on the whole D Wade thing that we're saying. They'd be like, oh, but letting D Wade go is a reason. Like, a lot of players also wanted to come here, not for the three reasons you said, but also because of D Wade, right? Terry Rozier, Bradley Beal, Donovan Mitchell. The list goes on, right? Of guys that want to be here because of Dwayne Wade.
Yep.
That's why, to me, the real mistake with Wade was not giving him ownership stake. That's why even back in 2016 or whatever, when I said let D Wade walk, I said he'll get his money eventually when he retires. Give him ownership stake. Give him a ton of money then, because I want to retain D Wade because I understand his impact he has on all these guys. Even up until Tyrese Maxey, a guy that was just drafted a few years back. He said that he idolized Dwayne Wade. So that was the mistake. The Miami Heat should have never let D Wade go into the Utah Jazz office. He should have been in the Heat's front office immediately upon retirement. And I think that would have been a huge recruiting tool to get guys over here, in addition to the other reasons that you stated as well.
To this day, I am still trying to figure out why that didn't happen. I mean, I can't think
of a reason. I can't think of a reason.
The only thing I heard, which does not make any sense, is that the Arisons did not want to give up ownership stake. But that made no sense to me at all. So I don't know. There's a real story there. Dwayne Wade hasn't told it. And you know it's touchy because every time he's asked, he smiles about it. And then he just gives some bogus ass answer. So I know there's something serious that happened. I don't know what. I do think that was a terrible mistake. Just like you said, had Dwayne Wade been here, I think Dame Lillard would be here. I think some of these deals would be done already. I think I as much as I love Pat Riley, because I'm a 90s kid, I'm from Pat Riley and Alonzo Mourning era, but that's not who the young people in today's NBA watched. The kids of today's NBAs, the 22, 23-year-olds, idolize Dwayne Wade, like you said. Not Pat Riley. You know, they know about Pat Riley because of the HBO show that came out. They know about Pat Riley because of documentaries. They know about Pat Riley because of stories. They don't know Pat Riley. So these kids today, they know Dwayne Wade. So if Dwayne Wade was in the organization, I think a lot of some of these deals would have been done a lot faster. Who knows? But go.
No, I was gonna say that's a great point. Like, I remember that he got Ray Allen because Pat Riley walked into the room, dropped the bag of rings on the table, and said, "You want one of these? Come with us." Yep. And Ray Allen said, "Damn, that's Pat Riley. Hell yeah." If Pat Riley did that to Donovan Mitchell would be like, "Who's this grandpa? This is the guy from Glory Roads that played for Kentucky. I seen that movie." Nah. You feel what I mean? Like, like that. You're 100% right with that. And I think, obviously, this is all sort of a tangent also, but I think GMs are tired of Pat Riley's hard-ass fleecing ways. That's why you get a guy like Joe Cronin that says, "Oh, you think you're going to come here and finesse me? Hell no. Get the hell out of here." You know what I mean?
I think it was a bully approach too. Also, Joe Cronin was kind of like, no, like, I know he wants to go here, but you guys, you're not going to bully me out of it. Joe Cronin, props. I know we're steering to a different direction, but props. He played his game of chicken and he didn't bail. So that's for another time. That's for another video.
In part one, you were talking about how you sad we missed out on Gordon Hayward. Now you're giving Joe Cronin props. You're disgusting.
Hey, real recognizes real. The man did not pull out.
You
Like, you know
respect
what I
the
mean?
petty, and
He
I get
stayed.
that. I do get that. Okay.
Yeah, I think everything was stupid the way it was handled, but I got to give respect to the man that he did not settle. He just kept going with the stubbornness. You got to respect one little thing, I guess. But before we close this out, my guy, one more thing I do want to ask you. Do you think that the contract extension has to be performance based? Because we can't monitor the games that Jimmy Butler takes off. We can't. He can say that he's sick. He can say that he rolled his ankle in practice, and we can't monitor. So Anthony, my question to you, main question: if it's a maximum contract extension and it's performance based, incentive based, would you do the contract extension before the 2024 season starts, or
Well,
would you still wait?
couple of stipulations there. You can still have an incentive based off games played. Like that's still a thing now. Whether it's his fault he doesn't meet it or not, we don't know. Like you said, does he have a legitimate injury? Is he hamming one up? We don't know. But I don't care about the reason. I would still put a games played incentive in his contract.
Mm-hmm.
And as far as performance based, would that affect if I give it to him now or later? I don't know. I don't know what percentage of a contract you can make incentives. Because let's say you can only make 10% of it performance based or, performance based incentives, then no, because you're still giving him almost all his money. But
True.
if you can make 40% of it incentive based, then hell yeah, I would do it because then it's a win-win, right? He either plays awesome and he plays every game, great, get your money, or he plays terrible. Oh, at least we didn't pay him. So I don't
Exactly.
really know how that works, but why give it a year early to satisfy a guy that I don't think Jimmy, people think he's going to go all Minnesota Timberwolves on us. He's not. He was very vocal from day one about how much he hated those teams and the organizations and their culture, and he has had nothing up until just last week at F1 in Miami. He has had nothing but positive things to say about Miami, and now he wants to stay here for the rest of his career. Now, does that sound like anything he said remotely close to in any one of his other stops? I don't think so.
No. Hey, man. Well said. And we're gonna close off there, guys. I want to let everyone know, all the listeners know, this is not a video bashing Jimmy. This is just reasons that we feel that it's not smart to give him a contract extension right now. Whether it's age, whether it's injuries, whatever it is. Part one was about why we should give it to him. Part two was about why we should not give it to him. Anthony and I have different perspectives, but I'm sure we agree on the same thing. We want this Miami Heat team to win a championship. Not in 5 years, now. And we know Jimmy Butler is that guy, maybe not to lead us there and be the number one, but a catalyst to get us there. So we support Jimmy. We want Jimmy on this team, and we want a championship. We want this Jimmy Butler build to end in a championship. I'm sure we can agree there. But guys, before we close out, Anthony, let the people know where they can find you, my guy.
Hey, before we do all that, make sure y'all hit subscribe on my boy Ernest's channel over here. Or not, because he's catching up to me. No, I'm just kidding. Shout out to my boy Ernest. Seriously, it takes 2 seconds to go ahead and hit like on this video, hit subscribe. You can go over to my channel, just search Anthony DiNardo. I'm sure Ernest will put the link down below so y'all
Yes,
can check
sir.
out part one, check out the rest of the channel. Make sure y'all subscribe because seriously, those 3 seconds it takes to click a button genuinely helps us out so much. This was an awesome time, and it will be a recurring off-season thing that we do. So we appreciate all the support we've been getting.
Absolutely, guys. And again, one more time, like, subscribe, comment. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you think about us doing this. Maybe some requests. This is what we're going to be doing in the off season. If you guys have any two-part requests that you have, let us know. We may use it and we'll give you a shout out. I want to thank you, Anthony DiNardo. I want to thank the people so much. Y'all have a beautiful day. And that is enough.